6 massive bunker buster bombs have struck Iran's most fortified nuclear site, while Washington's Warhawks affirm it does. History and the facts suggest otherwise. Stay tuned for more insights.
Hello, and welcome to That News Show, where we discuss the latest facts, fakes, and hypocrisy as reported by the legacy media. Let's roll the tape.
The same figures who led us into endless wars, claiming Iran was perpetually days away from obtaining a nuclear weapon, are now urging us to support American airstrikes halfway across the globe. Fox News has exposed new details about 6 bunker buster bombs dropped on a major Iranian nuclear site. Tonight, we'll explore the real motives behind this strike. Because in Washington, things are never as straightforward as they appear. It's important to remember that the previous administration, under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, spent years attempting to appease Tehran, which only emboldened their nuclear ambitions and left us with the consequences. Under President Trump, the White House has taken decisive action. Let's get into this.
There's soil that is then removed, exposed, and then the second bomb, which drops into a hole that has a radius of about 25 feet. It goes into the same hole and can go even deeper.
The deployment of advanced bunker buster bombs at Fordow starkly demonstrates the leaps in military technology, but it also prompts critical questions about the wisdom of deepening U.S. involvement in the Middle East. Are we truly safer post-strike, or are we merely setting the stage for further retaliation and instability? These weapons, capable of penetrating reinforced concrete and mountain rock to detonate deep underground, highlight the Pentagon's preference for brute force over addressing the root causes of regional instability. This approach, favored by interventionist voices in Washington, seems more focused on demonstrating American power than protecting American interests. These agreements allowed adversaries to exploit loopholes and advance their nuclear capabilities. There is also a lesson here for those who believe disarmament ensures safety. The American public deserves clear answers about the long-term strategy of these military actions. It is time to demand accountability from policymakers on both sides of the aisle who advocate for war while neglecting the cost to our nation. What is often overlooked is that these technically impressive operations tend to benefit defense contractors and globalist elites more than the average American family. The last thing Americans need is another overseas quagmire, particularly when the intelligence justifying such strikes is frequently unclear and sensationalized by the media. Under the current administration, Republicans have shown some willingness to reconsider endless foreign entanglements and prioritize American security rather than global policing. Instead of focusing on nation building or regime change, we should concentrate on securing our borders, rebuilding our infrastructure, and restoring our fiscal health.
I know we're still getting new information coming in here, Jennifer, but just for kind of clarification here, we have been told, or we've been kind of reporting that the B-2s went in and they went into Fordow and may have dropped as many as 6 of the bunker busters, and there were as many as 30 Tomahawks fired at Natanz and Isfahan. And I'm wondering, do we know, have we ruled out the possibility of any bunker busters being used on Isfahan and on Natanz?
I'm told that the bunker busters were used at Fordow and that it was the Tomahawks that targeted Natanz and Isfahan. So at this point in time, you would have had at least 3 B-2 bombers there above Fordow.
The facts are now clear. Fordow was hit with 6 of the most advanced bunker busters in the American arsenal, while Natanz and Isfahan were targeted with 30 Tomahawk cruise missiles. Notably, the bunker busters, which have significant deep penetration capabilities, were used exclusively at Fordow, underscoring the Pentagon's determination to neutralize Iran's most fortified nuclear facility. Are we prepared for potential retaliation from Iran or challenges from other adversaries? There is an increasing awareness that, despite their technical precision, these strikes do not tackle the root causes that repeatedly draw the U.S. into Middle Eastern conflicts. With the facts established, 6 bunker busters at Fordow and 30 Tomahawks at Natanz and Isfahan, with no bunker busters used beyond Fordow, the debate must now focus on whether these actions truly enhance American security or merely perpetuate a status quo that benefits a select few at the expense of many. This incident not only showcases American military prowess, but also prompts a critical reassessment of U.S. intervention strategies. Also, these military actions burden American taxpayers, while defense contractors and global interests benefit. The current Republican majority in Congress has started to question the long-standing, open-ended commitments that have characterized American foreign policy. It is crucial for policymakers to prioritize America's border security, economic strength, and national sovereignty over costly endeavors, like nation-building or regime change. Escalating conflicts abroad without a clear, achievable goal does not enhance American safety. Rather, it perpetuates a cycle of intervention, retaliation, and endless justification for increased military spending and deployment. Historical lessons show that when nations are pressured to disarm, it leads to instability and emboldens adversaries.
Again, when we woke up this morning, all eyes were on the reports and the sightings, the radar trackers, the flight trackers who saw that there were those 6 B-2 bombers flying towards Guam. And now if you were to fly from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri all the way to Iran, let's say, that's a 30-hour straight flight.
These aren't ordinary training flights. They involve some of the most sophisticated stealth bombers in the world, capable of carrying ordnance that could shift regional power balances overnight. When 6 B-2 bombers take off from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri and head toward Guam, it's a vivid demonstration of how quickly the gears of war can engage. The coverage often mirrors Pentagon rhetoric, seldom featuring independent voices, who might examine whether these actions align with national interests or merely further the goals of globalists and defense contractors. As the bombers continue their mission and officials consider their next steps, the crucial question remains, are we protecting our nation, or are we repeating historical errors? It tends to accept official statements unquestioningly and portrays these military deployments as necessary demonstrations of strength without considering their strategic wisdom. Americans deserve to understand whether sending bombers across the world genuinely enhances their safety or merely entangles them further in costly conflicts. In contrast, the current administration has shown a readiness to prioritize American interests and question the rationale behind perpetual intervention, even with a Republican administration. There's a pressing need for a more thorough debate on the purpose and outcomes of such military deployments. The previous Democratic administration, led by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, often lacked clear objectives and exit strategies for U.S. involvement overseas, favoring international institutions and agreements that sometimes compromised American sovereignty and respect. The answer won't come from radar images or dramatic broadcasts, but from incisive, accountable journalism that dares to challenge the status quo. The 30-hour direct flight from Missouri to Iran, requiring multiple mid-air refuelings, underscores the extensive reach of American air power and highlights the extent of our global commitments. Fox News could improve its coverage by challenging policymakers across the political spectrum, incorporating a broader array of perspectives and focusing more on substantive issues rather than sensationalism.
Whiteman flew east, and that's why we saw this week about 30 air refuelers that were positioned in Europe and along the way and throughout the Middle East, because they would have been required to create an air refueling bridge to get those B-2s. It's a 15-hour flight if you go east from Whiteman to Fordow.
The previous administration under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris prioritized international commitments leading to record deficits and increased costs for American families, with our military overextended by continuous global engagements. As military assets continue to move into Europe and the Middle East, it is crucial for policymakers to be transparent about the real-world costs and benefits of these actions. Meanwhile, critical sectors like manufacturing and agriculture confront new risks as military tensions potentially disrupt global trade routes. The burden of global military operations is a tangible reality that affects taxpayers, workers, and small business owners nationwide. To help a 15-hour flight for B-2 bombers from Whiteman Air Force Base to Fordow, the Air Force effectively created an aerial fuel pipeline spanning continents. The American people deserve a focused discussion on priorities that places their economic security and long-term prosperity above the interests of defense contractors and global agendas. This stark contrast raises an essential question. Are these expenditures enhancing our safety, or could these resources be better spent domestically? For American families, the implications of these deployments extend beyond mere headlines. The defense sector might see a short-term gain, but it's Main Street that bears the cost, receiving minimal benefits beyond fleeting assurances of security. While defense contractors and Pentagon bureaucracies benefit from these complex deployments, the tangible returns for the average American remain ambiguous. Historically, substantial defense spending on overseas operations has contributed to federal deficits and diverted funds from essential domestic needs like infrastructure and education. The recent deployment of approximately 30 aerial refueling tankers to Europe and the Middle East underscores the vast logistical and financial scope of these operations. When multiplied by 30, the scale of resources and taxpayer dollars involved becomes immense. Each refueling sortie encompasses not only fuel but also maintenance, personnel, and opportunity costs. Each KC-135 or KC-464-6 tanker can transfer tens of thousands of pounds of fuel mid-air. In contrast, the current administration emphasizes prioritizing American interests, carefully weighing each deployment's benefits against its impact on national security and economic prosperity. This is just the tip of the iceberg. They claim that Iran poses an imminent threat, yet they fail to present concrete evidence. Tonight, we witness the same old scenario, Washington insiders, backed by the media, pushing us toward another reckless conflict in the Middle East. It's time to reject these falsehoods and demand peace for our nation. It's crucial to ask ourselves who truly benefits from these conflicts. With President Trump at the helm, we finally have an administration that prioritizes America's interest over endless wars and unattainable fantasies. Leave your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's keep holding them accountable. Good day, good evening, and good night.